Waiting for the real estate bubble to burst? Today's video is going to cover my thoughts. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Living in Coastal Delaware. My name is Matt Lunden, and I'm a real estate agent here in Coastal Delaware with Next Home Tomorrow Realty. And today we're going to be going over the real estate market and is the bubble going to burst? And in particular, is the bubble going to burst here in Rehoboth Beach? Before we dive too deep into the video, I do just want to say, if you've got questions about the housing market, or if you're someone that's looking to relocate to the Rehoboth Beach area or just Coastal Delaware in general, that's what I help people with every day. So I'd love the opportunity to help you. My information is going to be down in the description as well as on the screen now. If I can help answer any questions or get you pointed in the right direction, I'm more than happy to. Just give me a call, send me a text, shoot me an email, really whatever's easiest for you. I'm happy to help out. Now let's dive into the video. Some of the most common things that we're hearing from consumers in the marketplace is that they'll wait until the market crashes before buying a home, or they'll wait until prices drastically drop before considering starting to look for homes. So I just wanted to put together today's video to give you my thoughts, my ideas on where pricing is going to end up, what the market's going to end up doing, and if we're going to see a crash. After you watch the video, do me a favor, leave some comments down below and just let me know your thoughts on the whole marketplace situation. If you think it's going to crash or you think it's going to continue going upwards, obviously none of us has a crystal ball, so I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. If you've been following real estate news or real estate media, you've probably seen a little bit of a change in the narrative over the last couple weeks compared to where we were, a month and a half, 2 months, 3 months ago, in that they're all talking about how homes are spending more time on market, we're seeing prices level off, and we're not seeing it be as crazy hot. And there's a lot of people that are taking that to the extreme and saying it's the beginning of the end, the crash is here, yada, yada, yada. I don't think that's the case. Typically the market follows pretty much the same trend lines year over year, and this time of year, almost like clockwork, we see a slight slowdown in the market. It's due to kids going back to school, summer vacations are ending, and people just aren't actively looking as much, especially as they set their sights towards the fall, the holiday season, and that kind of stuff. They might not be as actively searching as they have been all summer. So we definitely see the same trend lines pretty much every year, and I don't think it's the beginning of the end. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into what I feel in comparison to 2008 and the crash that happened there, and why people are trying to compare it to that, but it's nothing like that at all. So the real reason that we're seeing prices and the market the way it is currently are because there's an inventory shortage and interest rates are low. So when you combine, supply and demand, it's simple supply and demand. When supply is low and demand is high, prices go up. So you've got the low supply is partly due to the lack of new construction being built. So after the 2008 crash, we really saw a lot of people, home builders, homeowners, everybody get hurt by that. And so home builders really decided to slow down how much they were building, because right after the 2008 crash, there was an absolute surplus of homes available simply because of everybody that lost their homes in foreclosures, and that kind of stuff. And so they've slowed their building down drastically from 2008 until now. So when you take 12, 13 years of slowed building, you're going to have a supply issue. And a lot of those people that may have been looking to do a new construction home have now, maybe they've gone into the resale market, which, so the resales, which were pretty healthy, really up until, we started seeing a decline in 2019, but the resale inventory market was pretty healthy until then. And then obviously COVID-19 pandemic hit and people stopped listing their homes. People didn't want people in their homes. And so that the resale market took a hit as well. And then, the new construction, like I said, it was low to begin with. COVID-19 hit, and supply became, for the builders themselves, lumber was harder to get, just materials were harder to get, labor was harder to find. So they were low to begin with, and then they went even lower as far as how many homes they were pumping out. So inventory is at an all-time low. And then you've got interest rates, which are still hovering around, anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5% for the most part, which is crazy low. Just a couple years ago, people were paying 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%, which it's incredible the savings that people are able to take advantage of just because of where interest rates are at. So those two things combined have created an incredible amount of supply and demand lopsidedness to where there's not a lot of supply, demand is very high, and so prices are where they are now. In comparison to 2008 and what happened in 2008, I think we really need to look at what actually happened in 2008 to see that 2021 is nothing like that. So 2008's crash, we all know the primary reason, even though it was considered a housing crisis, the primary reason behind the 2008 crash was risky lending and, some risky credit options from banks, and they were pretty much given loans to anybody that walked in the bank and said, hey, I want to go buy this $3 million house. They would say, okay, well, here's your loan. They weren't really doing much of a, income check or creditworthiness check to realize that they could either afford or not afford that home. And after the crash in 2008, we saw the lending policies change quite a bit, not only from banks themselves, but also federally from the government, to where now it's a little bit harder to get a mortgage. If anybody's tried to go through the process recently, really since 2008, they've noticed that it's a lot more difficult to get a mortgage than it was 2005 through 2007. Where they were just handing them out like, they were candy bars at the time. Now you actually have to prove that you've got the income, prove that you got some reserves, prove that your credit is, at a certain point, so that way they know that you're actually going to pay the loan back. And, I think that even though, like I said, it was called a housing crisis, it was really all predicated by the risky lending practices, which we simply don't have anymore. So looking at 2021 and really a couple of years to come, not only is it a more stringent process to get a mortgage to begin with, a lot more people have a lot more equity in their homes than they did in 2008. So if the market does, take a turn for the worse, all those people have the ability to just sell their home on the traditional market before it ever makes it to the foreclosure market. So I don't see that, there's going to be a big wave of foreclosures and the housing market's going to crash and all that kind of stuff. I think we'll see a slowdown in demand. We always typically do throughout the fall and winter months. We'll see a slowdown in supply as well, though, because we always see that during the fall and winter months. As people take a look towards the holiday season, and they may not want buyers in and out of their house while they're trying to show their house and keep it in showing shape, even though they've got family, friends, whoever else coming over for the holidays. And buyers, aren't necessarily quite as active during the fall and winter months as well. Same thing. They're more focused on spending time with family, friends, whomever during the holiday season. And so we just see a slight slowdown in the market here. I think that the prices will kind of just level off. I don't think we're going to see a big burst in the market, and I don't think it's going to, prices aren't going to get reduced by 50% and all that kind of stuff. I think prices will level off. You might see houses sitting on the market for a little bit longer than the 10, 15 hours they've been sitting on the market. Maybe now it'll be stretched to a couple days. But yeah, for the most part, I just don't see it as a bursting bubble by any means. And then, tying it all to the Rehoboth Beach market here locally, a lot of people that are buying homes here are second homeowners, retirees, investors, that kind of stuff. They're all folks with quite a bit of capital. So I don't see the prices here in Rehoboth dropping off a whole ton. I think kind of the same situation. I think they'll level off, and I think they'll remain pretty constant. I think the market here in Rehoboth in particular is going to remain pretty hot as far as, time on market and that kind of stuff goes. I don't know that we'll necessarily see prices skyrocketing like they have been the last couple months. I don't think we're going to continue seeing 25 offers on a house like we have been, but I think it'll still remain pretty hot and pretty competitive, at least for the foreseeable future, until either the economy on a more macro scale takes a dump, or something that happens countrywide. I think it'll affect us a little bit, but for the most part, being a primarily second home or vacation home style place, I think for the most part we're going to have a lot of people that have the capital to remain strong and not be affected too badly by the overall market conditions, I should say. that's going to do it for today's video on my thoughts on the bubble bursting that you keep hearing about. I hope maybe you took some insights away from this. Feel free to jump down in the comments and leave me your thoughts on what you think the housing market's going to do. Obviously, like I said before, none of us has a crystal ball, so we can't predict it perfectly, but just looking at trend lines, I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to level off a little bit, but I don't see a big crash coming in our future. If you did take something away from today's video, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button down below, smash the notification bell right next to it. That'll keep you in the loop each week when we go live with these new videos. And then, like I said before, if you're somebody that's considering making a move to the Rehoboth Beach area or coastal Delaware, or if you just have questions about the real estate market, here in Delaware or coastal Delaware, that's what I help people with every day. So again, I'll throw my information down in the description as well as on the screen now. If I can help you in any way, answer some questions, get you pointed in the right direction, whatever it may be, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, whichever's easiest for you. And then, follow along each week as we discuss all things coastal Delaware, what it's like to eat, breathe, sleep, play here in coastal Delaware. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week.